আসবে একটু পরে ভাই।
Okay, welcome everyone for this session on Prince2 Overview. So we will discuss the following agenda: the Prince2 definition and what is Prince2, what is a Prince2 project, project characteristics, the world of projects, and all the agenda is here. So first is Prince2 definition. So if you see that. What do you think that what is the definition is here that projects in control environments, and the Prince2 should be used only for managing projects. So this is the main objective. And one important aspect I must see that the project or Prince2 definition, it's a temporary organization. That means wherever we introduce any project, that means we introduce a temporary organization which might be big or complex to justify the business case and setting up the project management controls. So the first definition, what we understand that it's a project management methodology, and which we introduce a temporary organization and which should be big or complex to justify a project business case. So definitely you need to justify any business case and setting up the proper management control. So if you see the definition that a project is a temporary organization that is created for the delivering for one or more business products according to the agreed business case. That means business case, what is the business case? That means you need to justify some project. So why you introduce this project and why it is delivered. So that's why this Prince2 is a methodology for the project management, which is we need for the planning, delegating, monitoring, and control for all aspects of the project to achieve the project objectives within some criteria performance target like time, cost, quality, scope, benefits, and risks. So these are the things we need to justify when we maintain the project. That means what is the time, what is the duration, what is the cost of the project, what are the products will be delivered under this project, and what is the scope of the project, and what is the benefit. That means after the project implementation, what are the benefits, and during the project implementation, what are the risks you need to consider. So this is the overall project management. That means you need to do first plan and then delegate, and then you monitor your project performance, and if needed, you control. So this is a cycle you need to maintain. So what is a Prince2 project? So for a project, we understand the project, and then if the project needs to be following the Prince2 guideline, what is the minimum you must be demonstrate in that project, that you have to follow the Prince2 some principles. Prince2 has, we will discuss this later, what is principle and theme, the minimum requirements set out in the Prince2 themes. And Prince2 has some processes, project processes, you need to maintain that. So if you follow these three things, then definitely you need to follow the Prince2 project. And a key challenge for organizations in today's world, two parallel competing imperatives. One is the maintaining current business operation, because when you introduce any project, that means your organization has some operation team, right? Is it? So you need to, when you introduce any project, that means you need to consider the ongoing current operation. And if any change is required after the operation, you need to manage business operational change as well. So we call that maintain current business operation, that means which the current operation is ongoing. We call it as business as usual, or BAU in short term. And if your operation needs to change anything, for example, you have, we are talking about the virtualization cloud, right? Our ongoing operation is legacy model. So you want to transform some business operation. So why? You need to survive and compete in the future according to the roadmap. So two things you need to keep in mind, that you need to, when you introduce in a project, that means current business operation you need to consider, and also what change it needs to be there, you need to consider as well. So projects are the means which we introduce change. That means any project we are talking about, we must introduce any change. And although many of the skills required are the same, there are many some crucial differences between the managing as usual and managing project work. And Prince2 assumes that there will be a customer who will specify their desired result and the supplier who will provide of the resources and skills to deliver that result. That means you understand our situation. That means we are a supplier organization. We are delivering to the customers, right? Like the different operators we're talking about, like GP, any operator, or in a situation like we are talking about the telecom organization. But if you consider that in a like any commodity industry, for example, refrigeration industry. So there might be have some customer and also supplier relationship. So you need to consider that we are our end goal is to expected benefit what we are introducing with the products we are delivering. Now we little understand that what is the project and what is the initial definition of the Prince2 and what are the Prince2 these things. So what are the project characteristics? So the first thing, we are defining something that change. That means when you talking about any projects, that means we introduce some changes. That what are the change your objective? You introduce like a 5G project or 5G use case project or feature some projects, or I'm talking of our current portfolio, right? So definitely that means one important aspect you need to consider, that the change, you must introduce any change. And then the second point is temporary. Why it is temporary? Because when we form a project organization, that means the project has some objective and it needs to be fulfill that objective. And that's why projects are temporary in nature and should have a definite start and definite end. And when the desired change has been implemented, the business as usual resumes in its new form and the need for the project is removed. For example, recently we completed one E&M project, right? Which is actually OSS modernization project in one of the customer. So what happened? That that project, the legacy portfolio was there, and we introduced our new product, which maps according to the roadmap. And we have some existing business operation. And after introducing the new product, the business as usual resumes in its new form. So the project organization was there for like 5 months, 6 months, whatever. And after that, the project is removed. But business as usual is ongoing. E&M operation is ongoing. Earlier, it was a different modality it was going on. So this is the temporary. So you need to consider that project characteristics, that it must be a temporary part as a part of project. And then another important part is cross-functional. So project teams have different skills working on temporary basis to introduce a change that will impact others outside the team. And projects often cross the normal function divisions and sometimes across different organizations. Like we are working with a customer organization project. And so when we call a joint project, that means the organization should be cross-functional. And then another important aspect, that every project is unique. Some can follow a familiar proven pattern of project activity, but each one will be unique in some way, like different teams, different time, different customers, different location. And next aspect is uncertainty. Definitely the projects are more risky. Any project, major risk or minor risk, The above characteristic will introduce threats and opportunities over and above those of business as usual. So if we consider that the world of projects, or next agenda, earlier I give the term that BAU. What is BAU? Business as usual, also called operations management, has no defined end and is not routine, uses people from the same area, and does not introduce a major change. It's a normal operational things. So projects come in all shapes and sizes. So one aim of Prince2 is to make the right information available at the right time for the right people to make the right decision about the projects. So those decisions include whether to take corrective action or implement any measures to improve performance. So the project management environment may influence how it actually started, delivered, assured, and closed. And factors external to the project is embedded corporate standards, the regulatory frameworks, organization maturity, and the individual projects definitely might be due to the industry sector, geographical location, the project risks. So projects in context, that Prince2 assumes that there will be a customer who will specify the desired result and the supplier who will provide the resources and skills to deliver that result. That means typical our scenario that operators requires their agenda that we want to achieve this project, then definitely what we as a supplier, we will provide our resources to deliver the project so that is fulfilled. And Prince2 refers to organization commissions a project as corporate program management, or CPC. That means who are actually bringing the project to deliver to the customer. So CPC in terms of Prince2 is the interface to the customer. That means they will actually make them, they have a decision maker that yes, I want to introduce this project. So then the other formality will start. So far, any comment, or is it understandable from anyone?
Okay, Bhaiya, you can proceed.
Okay. So project can exist within many contexts. For example, we have some portfolio, and portfolio have some different program. A program has multiple projects and some sub portfolio, and the project might be a standalone project as well. So in this format, the project can exist. And Prince2 refers to a supplier as the person, group, or groups responsible for the supply of the project specialist products. So I need to mention here that what is specialist products? That means, what do you mean by products? That means you introduce like any modernization project. So your products will be specific to the that modernization project. So this is a specialist product. And corporate or program management or customer is responsible for providing the project mandate, that means actually which is governing the project, and for realizing any benefits that the project might deliver or enable. That means the CPC I'm telling about, that they are giving the project mandate. You ask your organization, you need to implement these projects. So this project mandate actually indicates why the project is needed, what is the benefit this project will introduce, or something. So in the last slide, we discussed that projects can exist as standalone entities within an organization and outside the governance structure introduced by program or portfolios. So projects may be wholly managed within the commissioning organization or be a commercial relationship. Projects can exist where an organization has been set up solely for the purpose of undertaking the project. The project will be impacted by the programs. What I mentioned earlier, that program might be several years. You have might be 5 or 10 projects, and each of the project has some aspects of as well. So the programs approach sometimes you need to consider as well. So project may be a part of program, and the program manager may commission the project to enable or deliver the products. or outputs that contribute some of the program's expected outcome. And a program is likely to have a lifespan of several years. For example, currently we have a program and we have a 4 years program, one of the cases. So definitely in a product unit or any unit which is delivering the products, they have multiple parts. Like I'm giving one example, like Toyota, or the car manufacturer. So they have a different products. Toyota have various versions. So maybe for the geographical location, they have different types of version might be. And so according to the large program, which might be like 4 years, the project roadmap, program roadmap. So they have different projects objective as well. So I'm giving different types of examples so that you can understand these
I
things
have
more
one
clearly.
question, Nasir bhai.
Yes, Arif.
Nasir bhai, you just said that a program is likely to
Hmm.
have a lifespan of several years. I believe that it is not something mandatory for a project to be defined as a program. Let's
Yeah,
say
yeah, yeah,
it
yes.
is.
You can continue. Yes.
So my question is, let's say a program which is a combination of many projects under the portfolio of a company. In that case, if all the projects are
Uh,
finishing within a year, it still can be called a program, right?
Yeah, of course. It depends on the usually in the practical scenario, why it is several years, because you know that project, we know that 3 months, 6 months, whatever is usually the project is. And when you call a program, definitely objective is you have a long-term contract or so long-term contract. So definitely multiple projects are there, and duration usually in the practical scenario, it not in several years, in the sense that one project, like our case, we implement what is we agreed with the customer contract, right? Like this year we have we are focusing on 2 projects. Next year we have another 2 projects. So that's why program is the umbrella view, you can say. Program is an umbrella view, so that you know that this program has definitely 5 projects, 10 projects ever. And yeah, whatever your question is, 1 year, so that is technically possible, but you need to consider in reality. That is my answer.
Hmm. Okay, bhai.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Asar bhai, one question. In some
Yeah.
places it is mentioned program. I mean, spelling is different. So is it same thing or different?
No, it's the same thing. That means program. Different terminology. You say that program or program manager. That program
No,
manager
no, that is
means
okay. But in the bottom, you can see program spelling is different, and in the right side, Arif bhai was talking is
It's
different.
British versus American, I
British,
believe.
British American.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay,
No, I
that's
thought maybe meaning is different. Okay.
no. It's okay.
No,
That means you need to consider program as an umbrella so to understand the things clear. And each of the individual projects is a component of that umbrella. And even the projects might be a standalone project. That means no dependence on the umbrella might be. And program is also we call like is a temporary flexible organizational structure created to coordinate, direct, and oversee the implementation as a set of related projects and activities in order to deliver outcomes and benefits related to organizational strategy objectives. So projects and programs are different. This is the projects that are driven by deliverables like products, defined start and finish, clear scope, delivers the end products, benefits after the project, usually shorter time scale. Whereas the program is driven by end strategy, that means long-term strategic direction is there, no defined path, changes to the business capability, coordinated output delivery, benefits realized and during after longer time scale. So this is the important thing. And project, what I mentioned, that is a temporary organization which is created for the purpose of delivering one or more business products according to an agreed business case. So this term is very important, business case. We all, which some of guys were frequently actually working with this term. business case to interface some people. So if a business case does not match, so it is not, the project is viable. Now the portfolio that Prince2 defines the term sponsor as the role, that is the main driving force behind a program or project. We have a similar setup here with a sponsor who is the interface with the customer, and then the project commissioning, the usually provide the project sponsor. The portfolio is the totality of an organization investment in the changes required to achieve or its strategic objectives. So these the things the project focus, corporate organization practice to work with the project teams. And portfolio may comprise what we see earlier, programs, projects, or standalone projects, so which contribute the strategic objective. And organizations may be structured for projects to deliver the products contributing to the organizational strategic objective managed within portfolios. Now let's actually we discuss some terminology. Now let's go for the history of Prince2. This is the actually I will come back later on, that started with 1975, which is terminology as prompt. That means the initial terminology. Then in 1989, the Prince was formed, the next evolution you can say. Then 1996, Prince2 was officially from Prince to Prince2. Then 2009, first major revision of this Prince2. And in 2017 is the second major update of the Prince2. So Prince2 today is a de facto project management standard. The UK government in the 1980s demanded a solution to common project problems, and they're struggling. What is the reason behind? Because they were struggling to deliver on time, under budget, scope, up to the quality. So they wanted a method focused on the deliverables. So what I mentioned earlier, 1975 prompt and the origins of Prince2. That means while Prince2 was formalized by the UK government, it was inspired by a private sector framework, and Simpact Systems Limited developed Prompt, which contained a system development module called Prompt2. Prompt stood for Project Resource Organization, Management and Planning Techniques. Simpact developed the prompt in response to computer projects overrunning on time and budget. To make IT projects more manageable, the prompt lifecycle broke into the following phases: initiation, specification, design, development, installation, and operation. Then in 1989, the Prince laying the groundwork for Prince2, the UK government looking for an IT project management method, licensed the use of prompt from Simpact, the Central Computer and Telecommunication Agency only fully implement the Prompt2 module and adjusted it to create the new standard. Their variation of Prompt2 was named as Prince in April 1989. Originally it stood for Prompt2 in the CCT environment. Civil servants later changed the acronym to Projects in Control Environment. এখান থেকে Prince2 আছে PINCE, Projects in Control Environments. Changes from Prompt2 introduced critical path analysis and project managers. Prince was released into the public domain 1990, where it was more widely adopted. The UK government used it for major non-IT projects and holding in private sector there. Then in 1996, Prince2 is published. Prince2 was developed in consultation with about 150 European organizations. This virtual committee agreed on what they considered best practice. Along with the general framework of Prince, this advice from Prince2. Prince2 is a generic project management framework, unlike Prince, which was designed for IT projects and adopted by other industries. To be suitable for every project, Prince2 has to scale down from the Prince. For example, Prince demanded separate business assurance, technical assurance, other lot of organization people, but Prince2 does not call for this because it's too demanding for the smaller projects. So that global market responded well to that new framework. So Prince2 retains all focus on the final product. but can be tailored to suit for the different project environments. Then 2009, the Prince2's first major version. In 2002, the international user community started consulting on Prince2 updates. The biggest revision, that means 2009, made Prince2 more simple and customizable. The 2009 revision also introduced the first 7 principles, what we already mentioned. Prince2's 2013 ownership change to AXELOS Ltd led to Prince2 Agile. Is thanks to the 2009 revision that Prince2 is now simple and light enough to make this newer course just possible. And then 2017, the major second major revision, which is now still the last major update. Focus on the scalability and flexibility, and Prince2 from the beginning supported and encouraged tailoring. And 2017 update clarifies the bare minimum for a project to be the Prince2. That means how the project is qualified as a Prince2. So that is clearly mentioned here. Despite being major revision, the name Prince2 has not changed. Instead of referring Prince3, Prince2 2009 refresh or Prince2 2017 update were chosen because the core principle behind the Prince2 remained the same. Prince2 2000 was remained as Prince2 6th edition in 2020, but the guidance was not changed along with the name. Now we are talking for the next big. So is it okay? What we discussed so far, Prince2 history and some earlier definition. Now,
yes, Mr. B.
Okay, fine.
Now I have one question.
Yes.
From what I can see, the Prince2 standard has come from the UK side. So when we always talk about PMP and the PMI organization, which is the giver of the license of PMP certification. So is it something of 2 project standards coming from 2 sides? I mean, one is British standard and another one for American standard.
No, actually, you can say that you have 2 approaches, two guidelines are there. That means it depends on the organization. More or less, I must say that 80 or 90% might be same. Some prefers Prince2 because which framework they are familiar. So you can say that framework, like for example, you develop using Java, right? So Java has different frameworks there, like as Hibernate and other different frameworks. So you might use which framework you are going to suit to need your organization demand. So that is, I must say, that means, for example, some of the large complex projects, you say that the majority cases are same. So your question is actually in which cases we follow what, right? Basically, PMP is the North American standard. Usually we see that in Australian market or European market, even for the UN market, Prince2 is followed compared to with the PMP. PMP is basically used in Canada, North America. These places PMP is used more frequently. So that's why the framework is there, and depending on the actually geographical location which they are familiar, and also the skill set, the decision maker. So if they're familiar with the Prince2, they will definitely follow Prince2 because both are the advantages are there.
I was wondering why Ericsson prefers the PMP certification, as we have seen in the IPM goal setting slide. They said that Ericsson preferably PMP. That's why I asked this question.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Okay, now we are going for the structure of Prince2. It is actually some very few slides. So I will try to, in this short session, to more deep dive, so structure can be understand. So Prince2, if you see that 4 integrated elements, and Prince2 assumes a customer supply environment, and this part is actually project environment where you are going to implement the Prince2. And if you see that this circle, the Prince2 processes, what are the processes are there? And the next portion is Prince2 themes. What are the themes are there which will support it in the process, like risk, plan, quality, organization, business case, progress, and change. And then some guiding principles or framework where this overall structure is built on the Prince2 principles. The principles is the guiding obligation of good practice in Prince2. And one thing you need to mention that Prince2 does not provide specialist aspects, detailed technique, leadership capability. This model is how the project will be managed, the general guideline, and you can implement in any industrial sector, not dependent on the IT. You can implement in IT, you can implement in any cement sector, any manufacturing sector, whatever. So project environment, the first component that organization often want a consistent approach to managing projects and tailored Prince2 to create their own project management method. This method is then embedded into the organization way of working. So Prince2 is generic and based on proven principles. So organizations are adopting the method as standard can improve their organizational capability and maturity in multiple areas of business activities. And what are the processes? This is the chronological flow of the project. Like the first process is starting of the project SU, which is normally termed as SU. Then initiating a project, which is IP. Then directing a project, which is the project board members usually do, which is DP. Then the controlling a stage or CS, which where the project management is mainly involved in this process. Then managing a product delivery, when project manager assign the task to the specialist team. The specialist team has called a leader called team manager. He is actually assigned for the managing the product delivery. And then another process is managing a stage boundary, and Prince2 has multiple stage. Then each stage you have to consider that whether the next stage we can continue or not. So this process is called managing a stage boundary. And finally, when all objectives are closed, then the next process is closing a project or CP process. That means then the project is formally closed, then the user benefits will start after the project. So each process has checklist of recommended activities, products, and related responsibilities. A progression from the pre-project activity of getting started to the stages of the project lifecycle and the final act of project closure. Then what are some themes? Themes are here, 7 themes are there: risk, business case, change, progress, plans, organization, and quality. These are used continually throughout the project, explaining the specific treatment required by Prince2 for various project management discipline and why they are necessary. And each of the theme has purpose, theme defined, Prince2 approach, and responsibility, who will do what. Then we have 7 principles. What are the 7 principles are there? Continued business justification, learn from experience, define roles and responsibilities, manage by exception, manage by stages, focus on products, tailored to suit the project. Principles provide a framework of good practice and must be adopted for a project. And Prince2 principles are the guiding obligations and good practices which determine whether the project is genuinely being managed using Prince2. There are 7 principles, and unless all them are applied, it is not a Prince2 project. So you need to apply all these things to qualities as a Prince2 project. And Prince2 is a flexible. One important theme you see, that tailored to suit the project. That means you must tailor so that, for example, you might combine the role, or you can your process might be combined. So tailoring is there to suit the type of the project. Now we are discussing that if you see that the diagram here, actually the project, if you see the project, the bottom part is actually pre-project. That means before initiating any project, the one phase is called the pre-project. And then next stage is called initiating project, initiation of project, and then the subsequent stage, and then final project. And after the project is complete, then the post project. So here actually what happened, we earlier called this term the governing board or CPC, corporate program management of the customer, which is called CPC. That means they are actually first provide the project mandate. They're starting, like for example, they have decided, okay, for example, you can consider one market outlet like Shopno, and their management decided that Shopno's sale is dropped. We want to introduce a project which is a mobile application project for the Shopno, so that the customers can use the mobile app and increase the sales, and revenue of the Shopno will increase. So their governing body, what happens? They introduce one project mandate. That project mandate describes why the project is initiated and what is the initial business case, what is the benefits and everything. So this process is initiating using the starting of a project. In this step, actually, you see the project pre-project, but that means formally the project is not started yet. But here, this CPC, they form directing a project. That means the governing body, which will actually supervise the directive of the projects, where one executive is there. That means who is actually own the business case, who is the CEO of the project. Another is the supplier, senior supplier, and another actually who will provide the resource. And another is senior user. That means who will use the product after the project is finished. So these three will form this body under this, directing a project. So what happens when the project mandate, they've introduced that, yeah, you introduce this project mobile app. So they will discuss the initial, I will detail here, starting a project, what are the activities are there. I will go details there. As high level, you understand. When the initial justification is there, they ask for the directing a board that whether we can initiate the project. Not project is formally started yet, initiate the project. Then we'll ask, okay, initiate the project. Then we will discuss whether we will continue the project or not. Then they will see what is the detailed approach, what is the business case, what are the user benefits, what is the investment return, how it is there. And they will, if they are satisfied, then they can say that, okay, I am convinced, then I am approving the project. Then the subsequent project might be, stage will be ongoing, like mobile app, whatever is there. It has multiple stages like mobile app, design document, the SIT, what we follow tradition. These might be in the subsequent stages. Here, I forgot to mention that in this process, actually, executive and the project manager is assigned already. So when they initiate the project manager actually prepares the detailed business case and other things. And if you see that each of the stages, one stage is there, managing a stage boundary, that means going for the next stage. This stage, they discuss whether the next stage, the time, for example, this stage is 2 months. This stage is 1 month. So they, in this process, they check that whether the next stage will be completed within 1 month or whatever. So if this is okay, then they are going for the next stage. And here in the controlling stage, actually project manager daily supervise what is the project is ongoing and everything. And in the managing product delivery, where the project manager assign a specific product delivery to the team manager. So they will actually see that whether the product delivery is ongoing smoothly or not. If it is okay, then they will supervise the next stage. So this is the final stage. And if the project delivery is okay, yes.
one question.
Yeah.
How it will fit in our organization? Actually, when our project started, first we start through the pre-sales. I mean, the first it is analysis phase, then whether it is required or not, then the project starts. Here, project starts first, then they are doing the analysis, whether it is going for their organization or not. This is a little bit, I mean, difficult to understand why this is so.
Oh, no, no. For example, in your pre-sales phase, you mentioned already like it's a 3 months project or a 5 months project, whatever, right? And in the pre-sales phase, you already provide a timeline, right? That customer is agreed. Yeah, I agree with the 3 months projects, and each of the project you need to go like how it will be delivered. So that is why, because starting a project, what it means, that means you formally introduce the project. That means you have in the pre-sales phase some business case with the your organization, right? That your project has 30% margin, like 3 months project, and your project says what are the deliverables, like LLD, then SIT, UAT, whatever. LLD is 1 month, SIT is 1 month, and handover and other parts, for example, I'm giving. So these already you initially assign here, and in the initiating business process project, you formally see that yes, I will formulate the project. I know that the business pre-sales phase, it will take 1 month for the LLD and design. So you already handshake here. And then in this case, this subsequent stage, actually you are doing the LLD, then you do the SIT, UAT, whatever. You got my point, Isabel?
Yes, so here pre-sales means, I mean, pre-sales means the pre-project. I mean, with the
Pre-project,
pre-project,
right?
pre-project.
Pre-project.
Okay,
That
okay.
means initially our organization mentioned that your customer wants this, and they want to justify the project. So that's why here actually you initially just assess the what is the business benefit, what is the business margin, and in the detailed business case, I'm going to the next, I think, later on, then you will be more visible. Just high level, you try to understand that what is going on. Then I think that in the next few slides, you will be more visible to understand.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. And then actually we call uh, the starting a project, what we discussed earlier. Here actually you see the 3 levels of project management is there. One is the direction, one is the management, where project management will do, and finally is delivery. Okay, so what happened that the project mandate, they earlier called initiate the project, and then starting a project is going, then the request to initiate a project is the initiating a project, and then initiation notification, then authority to initiate a project. Okay, you initiate the project, then the next project initiating a project, and then request to delivery project. So these are the overall actually details. I am requesting not to just high level understand that what are the each of the process and everything is there. So each of the process, what I mentioned earlier, that each of the process comprises multiple activities, and each one comprises the recommended actions. And if this activity is there, what you need to do. So this is actually, you can say that what I 2 slides back I mentioned, that starting up the project, that project mandate is there, which is given by the corporate program management or CPC. They appoint the executive and the project manager, and then they capture previous lessons of the project, and then they prepare the outline business case. That means first business case they are preparing based on the input, and then the other project management team is formed, and then they will see that what project approach and project brief, because their outcome a Prince2 methodology, from the Prince2 methodology, in the starting a project, the whatever decision is there, one output is called, that is called project brief, whatever is there, like previous capture lessons, appoint the project management team and everything. So that is under the project brief. And then if the project brief is formed, they plan to initiate the project. So request to the board of the governing body to okay whether we can initiate a project or not. So this is the you can say earlier one question that what is the preface of the project. Then in details here that based on this the directing a project, this is the overall diagram. So the second process, which is called DP process, actually the directing a project. So there actually you see overall project life cycle there they will be there, this process, that whether the project will initiate it or not, then project can continue or not, and any advices if it is there they will give the advice, and finally any for the closer they will also make the closer. Okay, project is meets the benefit, meets the target whatever we initially thought, so we can close the project. And this is the actually other processes there also. Now another part, what we second term I called already, that initiating a project. That means after starting up the project, the initiation of the project. Okay, the project we can start or not. Here actually I mentioned earlier that here actually the lot of task is there. That means authority to initiate a project, they first agree any tailoring requirements according to your organizational need. Any tailoring requirements are there or not. Then they will create in this process, if you see, the risk management approach, how the risk will be captured, prepare the quality management approach. If the project is delivered some products, how you ensure that your projects can ensure the quality. So this needs to be addressed here. Prepare the change control approach, how the change can be addressed. Prepare the communication management approach. So these 4 detailed approach document needs to be prepared here by the project manager. And then the setup project controls. That means how frequently you need to communicate and everything. And then you need to incorporate all these things that are in the create the project plan. And after this, another important part, I already mentioned that you create the projects. You must have some benefit management approach. That means after your project is delivered, the product life cycle will be going like 1 or 2 years, right? For example, we recently completed one upgrade project last year. The upgrade life cycle, this will continue like 2 years. So benefit approach management needs to be detailed that how it will be there. If everything is satisfied, then they will assemble all these things to the project initiation document or PID, PID, briefly it called PID. So if it is okay, then to deliver the project and other project parties there. So Benjamin, your earlier question, so this needs to be confirmed before formulate the other parts of the projects. So this is the actually standard methodology. The next project is actually controlling a project, where actually the project manager main activities here, apart from the initial engagement, when the actual delivery is ongoing, like any corrective action, review the management stage, activating a work package. Work package means you give the special projects to the team manager for the delivery of these things. So I am just giving overview so that once you're familiar, it will be more understandable for you. Then this is actually when project manager assigns something to the team manager. Team manager is actually delivering. For example, in our recent project example I am giving, that Arif is working as a project manager, and he is assigning our engagement manager like Ranaditya, who is working as a end-to-end architect. So in the Prince2 method, you can call him a team manager, and he assigns, he has some team members as well. So you introduce the develop script and SIT documentation So this will be covered under this part. Then the managing stage boundary, already we know that Prince2 has several stages. So before starting the next stage, in the current stage, you need to review what is the current business case, if it is near, and whether it is within the tolerance or not. Tolerance means you know that each stage you mentioned that 6 variables are there, like what is the cost, what is the timeline, so whether it is doing within each time frame or not. So these are the things you need to check here, whether it is within the time frame or not. If it is okay, then you plan the next management stage. And for example, if you have any exception is there, you must produce an exception plan so that the board will give the authority whether you can continue the project or you can close the project prematurely or not. And this is the actually last process, which is the closing of the project. When all the projects is target product is delivered, and there are two things are there. One is the planned closure. That means normally the project delivers all the projects. You do the handover, the products, evaluate the projects and recommend project closure, and project is closed, and the project deliverables or product delivery, the operation can continue the product delivery. Now we know that 7 themes we mentioned earlier, and just as some guideline that each of the theme, like business case, the project starts with an idea which might have a potential value to the organization concerned. Then the theme addresses how the idea is developed into a viable investment proposition to the organization, and how project management maintains the focus on the organization objectives and throughout the project. So answer the question why, how it will, why it happens. And then the organization means who will responsible for the project to the delivered. That means the organization, the project needs to allocate the work to the managers who will be responsible for it to the completion. That means who is going to deliver. Now the next theme is quality. That means we mentioned that these products will be delivered under this project. So this theme explains how the outline is developed and how the participant understand the quality attributes of the product and what is the acceptable criteria for the products. And that means what? Then the next question and then theme is plans. Plan means your projects must be based on some approved plans, and that means what project is ongoing, then how much, when it will be delivered. So this question is for the plans theme. Next, the theme is risk. Risk is very important theme. That means any uncertainty, any risk more than stable than operational activity. Then the question is what if? That means you have some doubts in your mind. What if? How it will handle with the risk. Then change. In any projects, you have some certain baseline. If it's a potential impact, like say you are delivering something, then customer may mention, no, I want in this way. Then definitely it will prompt in your mind, what is the impact? Will it the time will be increased? Any cost will be impact? So this will be under the change theme. Then the last theme is progress. That means you have some plan and where are we now? Which stage we are now? Where we are going? Are we on the right track? Should we carry on? So this question will be under progress theme. Then the business case theme, what we mentioned that if you introduce the project, if you see here that develop the business case. That means pre-project, you verify outline business case, initial stage, more detailed business case. When the project is formally is there, so develop and verify in this part, and maintain and confirm. That means each of the stage you need to confirm, okay, you have some business cases there, whether it is okay or not, or it is within the tolerance or not. It is okay, fine. And then after the project is delivered, then the benefit post-project, you can say, the product benefits are there or not, where user is there. So that's why in the left diagram, you see the project outputs. That means project has delivered the products. What is there? It introduced some changes. What are the changes? That it create desired outcomes, and desired outcomes measured in better realize side effects of the consequence. What is there? If it is benefit is there. For example, if you introduce your mobile app, your revenue will increase 10%. What I mentioned earlier in the shop business case. So definitely it is a business benefit. And so what are the some side effects might be? That your retail customer will lose or so if it is the business case is there, some benefits are there. So you need to consider the overall benefits, what is there, and what is the benefit as well. And then the important parts, what I mentioned earlier, the organization theme. So every organization, when you mention that, when you form the business or project organization, the project board, which actually three stakeholders, primary stakeholders are there. One is the business stakeholder, one is the supplier stakeholder, and one is the user stakeholder. And three combination is project board. That means where executive is running the show or business the show. And supplier actually, who is actually taking the business part is executive, business part. And then the supplier will provide the resource to deliver the project, and user will use the product after the project. So his interest is also there. So if you the project management team, the CPC, which is the corporate program, they introduce the project first, and 3 levels of project management team, where project board is the directing, they're giving the direction, whether you continue the project or stop the project, whatever. So this is the directing part. Then is the managing part, where the project manager is there, managing part. And finally, the team specialist team who is delivering the products, that they are actually team manager or delivering. So this is the overall part of the project management team, the 4 levels of management within the project management structure. Earlier we discussed the quality theme also. I think that quality is very important theme in Prince2 point of view. From customer, they have some quality expectations. If you see the quality planning, that customer has some quality expectations, and they have set the acceptance criteria. We are giving this acceptance. If you meet this acceptance, we will accept the products. And they will detail these things of each of the project product description is there, where they will mention each of the products. Like you have to deliver 5 in your project, like 5 products are there. Each of the criteria they mention from the customer. So then the project team, when it goes, earlier we discussed the quality management approach. So this project description, the quality management approach, they will segregate what are the individual products will be there. And they will segregate this thing in the quality components. What are the quality criteria, tolerances? What are the quality methods will be there? What are the quality responsibilities, that whether it will meet the customer requirement or not? And they will register in one terminology called quality register, which is a management product in the Prince2. So and then from the quality register, the product is finally delivered, and then finally, if it is accepted, it is recorded as the acceptance record. So this part is quality control, and the bottom part and the top part is quality planning. So this is the actually quality.
Nasir bhai, sorry, one more question.
Yeah.
I can see this quality approach is like the QA. I mean, quality analysis in software
Yeah.
firm or like this.
Yeah.
If customer disagree with the output, then they should go to the initial stage and do the analysis again and do the work again. So I'm not seeing any loop here. I mean, it is how it
No,
will
no,
manage in this
no, no.
situation.
No. One thing is quality means you know that each of the stage, whatever we discussing, that each of the stage, one project has multiple products. Like for example, stage one product is delivered. Stage two, second product is delivered. And stage one, when the product is delivered, it has some acceptance criteria. That means stage one, your question is quality is not reversed. The stage one is still ongoing, but the question is stage one time will be increased. Then you need to go to the board. That earlier we thought that 1 month is sufficient, but in during the quality review it is not passed. Then what we'll do? Then the board will decide whether it will within the tolerance. That means instead of 1 month, you can complete it within next 15 days or next 1 month even. If the board justifies, then you can continue the revision of the project. Or if it is not, then you need to discard the project. You got my point?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So the plan already mentioned that the corporate program or customers plan, initiation stage plan, that in initiation stage, we made the initial stage plan. And then over we have the project plan. And the project plan has subsequent stage plan and then the team plans. That means when specialist teams will work, they have the team plans. And then we have the if required exceptional cases, you need to have exception plan. And here actually the plan part is very important. That means when you plan the designing a plan stage, you need to consider the initial stage at customer asks this, how many stages will be there? It will be like 3 months, 3 stages will be there or not. Actually, this part is very important. And then you when you got the defining and analyzing the products, you need to understand the quality and everything. This needs to be understand. And then you need to identifying the activities and dependencies and preparing the estimates, preparing the schedule that how will it take. So this part is very vital for creating the project plan. And finally, documenting the plan. And this is the risk management procedure. That means identify any risk, assess the situation, what is their plan for the resolve it, and implement the action, and finally communicate. And here is some example of impact, probability impact grid, how the risk can be there and how can you segregate the priority of the risk. Some calculation is there. It's a very high. What is the probability and what the calculation and what is the overall impact? And here actually one issue and change control procedure. That means first stage is capture the any issue type, severity, or any particular things. And then you assess the impact of the project objectives or deliverables in a business aspect. And then you request for the advice to the board, whether we will adopt the changes or not the changes. And for the change, there is some budget is there apart from the normal project budget. So that is actually the change budget. Then you next stage is propose, identify options, evaluate the options and recommended options. Then you decide, okay, if you're within within the grip of the tolerance level, then you advise for the exception report for the project board. And finally, implement stage, take corrective action or update the records and the plans. And any issue register, this is called actually Prince2 term daily log or issue register for changes anything in the for any making any changes. And this is actually the something I explained earlier, that corporate, which is the who actually introduces the project, they set any project tolerance. That project has this timeline, 6 months or everything. Overall, the project is 6 months. This cost, this benefit, everything. Then the project board actually they have authority for the stage tolerance. We mentioned that the project has multiple stages, 2 stages, 3 stages. For the each stage tolerance, the authority is project board. And finally, the project manager, there when giving the delegate to the work package to the team manager, this is actually work package tolerances. For if any exception is there for any tolerances, they will go to the this. Some of the questions might be there that project manager can communicate directly with the project team member bypassing project manager. So the scenario might be explained on this. Then if you know that this structure, you immediately know team manager cannot go to the project board. He can go to the project manager only. So you can pick your right answer. And this is the 6 variables I must mention. I think any what method you are mentioning, time. Time is very important. That what is your project plan, stage plan, time is within the time frame or not. Cost is very important. That what is the cost of the project, each overall project level, stage level, and even with the work package level. Then the quality, which is very important. And what is the, for example, the product you are preparing, it weights might be 10.5 plus minus 35 pound. So this is the one of the quality might be. So quality is mentioned in the product description. Scope. So the scope is very important. And scope, what is the, for example, you see that scope is delivered for the project, and then you need to apply some Moscow prioritization requirement, like your multiple scope is there, which without the product the Moscow abbreviation is must have, should have, would have, without have. That means must have you need to deliver must, and should have you need to deliver must. So these are the part of the scope. And then benefits, and definitely benefits is what are the benefits the project will do. And finally, the risk, that what are the risks are there. So you need to follow in the risk management approach, and in the each of the stage level and work package level also. So we just high level, we discuss the structure, what are the process, what are the themes we covered. Then we actually discuss that why Prince2 methodology is. So we understand so far based on the discussion, based on established and proven best practice and governance for project management, and widely recognized and understood, providing the common vocabulary for all projects, tailored to meet the organization need and a scale for project size and complexity, can be applied to any type of project and blended with industry specific models, promotes consistency of project work and the ability to reuse the project assets you must use, facilitates staff mobility, reduce the impact of personal change or handovers, promotes learning from the project experience and continual improvement in the organizations, supported by the worldwide network and examination institute, ensure stakeholders are properly represented in the planning and decision making. So benefits of Prince2 what is the abbreviation of Prince2? Projects in a controlled environment. So Prince2 provides a consistent range of practical management documents. Prince2 has continual focus on project justification and benefit realization. It exception ensures efficient and effective use of management time. Prince2 has been developed and tested over many years. Roles and responsibility ensure that right people are involved. Provides a tailorable management framework for a consistent working approach. Prince2 product focus gives clarity and agreement on what needs to be created. Project terminology is communication, aids the communication, and Prince2 activities within each process acts as a helpful checklist, advising what you may or may know what to do. And it develops management skills and provides work consistency and hence asset reuse. So how it will help that a built-in auditing for the precise progress and accurate reporting, step-by-step approach for planning, clear roles and responsibility, clarifies communication, provides a checklist. One person is ultimately charged, which is executive of the project, links quality management to deliverables, builds in continuous risk management and monitoring. All stakeholders are involved in the project and users and suppliers, provides precise, effective progress monitoring controls, brings in managers at key points for timely decision making, flexible and tailorable to fit the different types of projects, ensure approved business case and measurable benefits drives the project. Now we can discuss some slides how in the commercial environment it can be there. A customer could enter into a commercial relationship with a supplier project following a formal tender to deliver to a specific set of customer requirements, which we, in our case also we are following, right? So we have a contract with the customer where the customer is our operator and we are the supplier. The organization delivering the project, the supplier will do in order to satisfy particular needs identified by the customer. The contract between the parties sets out how the customer and supplier will work together to deliver the project. The rights and duties covered by the agreement may constrain how a project manager manages the project. There may be hierarchies of commercial relation rather than a simple customer supplier relationship. And delivering the customer's business case. For example, we are the supplier organization. We are delivering the customer's business case, and we have our own business case as well. So we need to follow our own methodology organization for the Prince2 and customers. They can engage Prince2 methodology as well. So when we delivering the customer's business case, some work delivered by the customer, and some work we have a contract with the customer, work delivered by the supplier. That means we delivered the project for the customer. And even we have some subcontractors who are delivering their delivery as well. So this is the one aspect how the commercial environment it can be implemented. And we have a contract with the supplier and the subcontractors as well. So there may be a prime contractor plus several customer supplier organization, each with its own business case for undertaking a project. That means we have our business case, customer has their own business case, so they need to follow their respective business case. Where it can be implemented, one like for example, joint ventures, collaborative research, intergovernmental projects, partnerships, interagency projects, bidding consortium, alliance contracting. When managing projects in commercial environment, there may be multiple sets of reasons for understanding the project. For example, I am giving the example of Shop No business case, that why we introduced this project, why we introduced the mobile app, because the sales are declining. So if we implement the mobile app, the sales will increase and revenue will be increased. The reasons you must mention why you are taking the business project, and that is part of the business case. Management systems and project management methods and delivery approach, that is important, such as waterfall, organizational structures, governments and possible disclosure of project data at different points in the project life, corporate culture such as behaviors. And now comes to the project Prince2 delivery approaches. The way in which that project is to be delivered is called the project approach. The project approach may rely on the delivery approach used by the product package to create the products. The application of Prince2 can be very different depending on which delivery approach is used. Prince2 Agile regards Agile as a family of behaviors, concept, frameworks, and techniques. And here are some delivery approaches there. Waterfall approach, which is linear and serial, which usually our projects we try to follow. Some of the cases, the Agile, iterative, and incremental. So the some of the cases we follow also this methodology. And now the measures of success. We know the project status can be measured by the time, cost, and quality, but it's best to identify the key performance indicators, or KPI. The number of KPIs should be balanced to create only information that is necessary and sufficient. So a KPI balance is needed between the qualitative and quantitative measures, the lagging indicators, and project inputs and output. So objectives of what the project needs to be achieved, where KPIs are the measures that indicate whether the progress is being made towards the meeting these objectives or not. And two indicators are there. One is lagging indicators, measure the performance that follows event tracking, how well the actual performance matches that which was expected. That means a reactive approach, you can say. And leading indicators measures performance toward the event to track. If they are on course to meet, that means proactive approach, expected performance or not. So project dashboard could be used to track project progress using the graphical representation that can show KPI status. The project there, these are the measures that can be used for the project to directly measure the project performance against the project success criteria, which is SMART: specific, measurable, accountable, realistic, and timely. Each KPI should meet each criterion. Measurable indicators to use to report progress, clean and unambiguous, chosen to reflect the success criteria. Project success factors so that what when present are most conducive to project success. And one is critical success factor. The exception critical success factor would cause the project to fail. So this is the project dashboard. So project versus business as usual. Change, already mentioned that projects are the means by which we introduce change. Temporary, projects are temporary in a nature and should have defined start and defined end. When the desired change has been implemented, business as usual resumes in the new form and the need for the project is removed. The cross-functional projects have different skills working on a temporary basis to introduce a change that will impact outside the team. Projects often cross the normal function divisions and sometimes across different organizations. Unique, every project is unique. Some can follow a familiar proven pattern of project activity. And in terms of different teams, different customers, different time, different location, uncertainty, if projects are also more risky. So that characteristics will introduce threats and opportunities over and above the business as well. Managing a project performance that already we discussed earlier, that project manager must be handled many factors to deliver the project. The project should be delivered, tailored, and justifying as you go. Discussion with the management. The constraint, if it is a constraint, must be prioritized. How much has the project spent? You need to check the project every time. What we run rate you can call here. Is the project ahead or behind the schedule? Are the products meeting their specification, whatever meeting the targets or not? How many delivered products are within scope? Is the amount of risk is acceptable? How much value benefits has the project delivered? And the C aspects of the project performance is scope, cost, quality, time, risk, benefit, what we mentioned earlier. So if anything is changed, you need to consider other 5 parts also. If a scope is changed, increased, you need to check whether cost is increased, time is increased, risk is increased or not. So what we control that cost. The project has to be affordable. A budget may be suggested, but factors can lead to overspending or opportunities to cut cost. Time scale, closely linked to costs. The most common variable determining the end date. Quality. The end product of the project must work. In Prince2 terms, the project products must be fit for purpose. A scope defines what the project will deliver and must be agreed by all stakeholders. The project manager must be clear of what is and what is not within the scope. This can be the source of delay, overspend, or uncontrolled change, or what we call a scope creep. Benefits. These are the reason why the project is being done. That means if every project has some objective, the project manager must understand the purpose of the project as an investment and ensure the deliverables are consistent with the achieving the desired return. And then risk. How much risk we are prepared to accept? Can the risk be managed and controlled? And now I'm just talking about some exam perspective. The Prince2 has two types of exam. One is the foundation exam, and another is the practitioner exam. The foundation exam realize that recognize the Prince2 elements very well. It's a closed book foundation exam. It's a 60-minute and 60 questions to answer. And 4 question styles may be used. Pass mark is 33, 85%. For example, one question, what is the purpose of the plans theme? They will mention all these things. You need to select like. Next question is which statements of the quality you are correct. Then you need to, some combination is there. You need to select that. Identifying the missing words in the following sentence. The mentions of sentence, and then you need to select this. And which roles should not. Then you know some roles are there. You need to consider as well. And then the practitioner exam, which is the most hard one, is actually a 2.5 years exam, and it's a 46 questions to answer. One is 35 standard and 11 matching. Total 68 questions are there. Matching questions is 11. Each matching question is 3 items to be matched, so 33. Pass mark is 38 marks or 55%. Standard example: apply and carry out the Prince2 and apply techniques, rules. For example, here one example: what should the recreation manager in the given scenario? Some statement is there. Then you need to assess. So assess and analyze information in context to reach a conclusion. Break the information into component parts, how they related to one another. Find evidence, and then you reasoning what is the justification for this answer. So here any question, and before question, I think just I am going to one side. Here actually is the full Prince2 manual is there. Like full what is the objective and everything is there. What is details you can get this Prince2 manual. So you can get hard copy from your vendor as well, or online you can purchase it as well. This is the diagram that what is it objective. So you need to actually understand if you want to foundation, not too difficult, but for practitioner exam, you need to connect everything so that you can understand the scenario. This is the business case theme, what we discussed earlier. And one important part after this theme and process, this is called actually why Prince2 is important. Like we discussed that one, you have to develop some specialized products, as well as each of the stages you have to develop some. I'm giving one example here. Like lot of documents of each of the management stages there. Like for one example is benefit management approach. That this is the total definition you can get from the appendix here. Why the benefit is there, the scope of the benefit, who is the accountable for the expected benefits of these things. This is the business case. executive summary, reasons why you are taking the expected benefits, what are the benefits. So you need to justify in details in the business case here. This is a change control approach. So all the documents, what I mentioned here, that checkpoint report, highlight report, which is followed in the controlling stage. So all format is there. You have to understand what is the question is there, then you can connect with these things. So any question on this part over the presentation?
Thanks. This is a very good presentation. So my question is, as an organization, Ericsson, what kind of project model we are following now? Right now, I am know that we are following the POPC model, but we are saying Prince2 or PMP. There are different models. So is there any gap in what model we are following in Ericsson?
Ericsson, earlier it was called PropC, but now it is changed XLPM. It is the new term. Actually, earlier it was PropC. XLPM is followed. And actually, I think that whatever we're following XLPM also, like we are following TG2 and everything, that means governance, their term. Actually, 70-80%, 80% I think same. Like TG2, TG1. What happens? That TG1 you are doing why you want to before even for the TG2, the sales approach. You are justifying the project, right? That what is the cost of the project? What is the business case? That means whatever you follow. Also in the risk management, everything. So it in the XLPM, whatever my understanding that it can be tailored. Prince2 or PMP, I'm not sure for the PMP case, but Prince2 already mentioned that due to the organizational method, you can also tailor. Yeah, you in the XLPM you call this Prince2. Your terminology is this. Just to map these things. You got my answer.
Yeah, Nasir, yeah.
Okay. So any other question from anyone? Najib, anyone?
No, bhaiya.
Is it understandable what we discussed so far? I try to, in a very short session, 1.5 hour, try to capture the just overview session.
Yeah, Nasir, it is understandable, but the most of the I think the terminology is different, but we are following the same activity in different way, I think.
Yes, right. Just you need to, if you want to stick Prince2, then you Prince2 methodology you need to apply. Some of the case might be tailored according to the situation. So any other one like Miramin or Arif or anyone?
No, Nasir, no question. It was good one in a short nutshell. It's a big, long, vast subject, but you have covered in very short duration. It was quite fine. Thanks.
Thanks. I mean,
Sir, how to get certified? I mean, we need some formal training. Only reading material is enough. I mean, any guideline from your experience.
My experience, yeah, locally, I think couple of vendors are there. One is Global Skill. You can take the voucher from them, and they have also some online training. But their training is okay. But apart from this, I personally followed some other external training also, like Project X Academy. This is very good, which is by David, who has actually 25 years of Prince2 experience. I can recommend his site as well. And also another site I'm recommending, Management Plaza, which is a Belgian company where two gentlemen is there, Frank Tarley and Nader, who is a Turkish guy, who might be Noor's friend, might be. I'm not sure. So they're very good gentlemen, and their way of teaching helps me a lot, I can say, understanding this complex topic.
Thank you, Nasir bhai.
Okay.
To appear in Prince2, Nasir bhai, you don't need any formal project points or any prerequisite. No prerequisite, right?
No. Just if you're understanding, you can implement. But practitioner exam, you must pass the foundation exam. This is the prerequisite. But foundation, no prerequisite.
Okay. Foundation,
So
no
you can
prerequisite.
you can take it. I think I recommend at least couple of guys you within next 1 quarter. If you try to follow Prince2.
Yeah, Nasir bhai, how much cost this exam fee?
Exam fee
Foundation
is foundation is what I remember $370 and for the practitioner is $420. But one good thing is currently earlier we faced these challenges. You can reimburse if you pass the exam for the Prince2.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay,
Yeah,
I
thank
think.
you, Nasir bhai. Yeah, thank you, Nasir bhai. This is a good presentation.
Okay, thanks everyone for quite for 1.5 hours to join the session.
Thanks a lot, bhai.
Thanks a lot.
Nasir bhai,
very much.
thank you for your
Thank you, Nasir bhai.
time
Thanks.
sharing.
Thanks.
Take care.
Bye.
Allah Hafiz.
Presentation to share করে দিন।
And
Thank you.